Imagine a family so powerful that they could decide the outcome of wars, so wealthy that their fortune dwarfed entire nations, so influential that kings and emperors came to them, hat in hand, begging for loans. This isn't fantasy. This is the true story of the Rothschild banking dynasty, a family that went from living in a cramped, dirty ghetto in 18th century Germany to becoming the puppet masters of global finance. Over the next 30 minutes, we're going to uncover secrets that shaped the modern world. We'll reveal strategies so brilliant they're still used today, and we'll explore how one man's vision created an empire that has endured for over 250 years. But fair warning, this story involves deception, war profiteering, and financial manipulation on a scale you've never imagined. By the end, you'll understand how the world really works, and it might change everything you thought you knew about money and power. Let's start our journey in Frankfurt, Germany, 1744. The place? The Judengasse, literally Jews' Lane, a cramped, overcrowded ghetto where Jewish families are forced to live behind locked gates. Picture this: 3,000 people crammed into a narrow alley just 330 yards long. Houses are so tall and close together that neighbors can shake hands from their windows. The smell is overwhelming: open sewers, rotting food, and too many people in too small a space. It's here, in house number 148, with the red shield hanging outside, Rothschild in German, that our story begins. Mayer Amschel Rothschild is born into this world of restrictions and poverty. As a Jew in 18th century Germany, he can't own land, can't join trade guilds, can't even leave the ghetto after sunset or on Christian holidays. His options are severely limited. But here's what makes Mayer different. He refuses to accept limitations. The Holy Roman Empire has over 300 separate territories, each with their own rules about Jews. In Frankfurt, Jewish families can only have 2 children marry and stay in the city. The rest must leave or remain single. It's a system designed to keep Jewish populations small and powerless. Mayer's father, Amschel Moses Rothschild, dies when Mayer is just 13, leaving him to support his family through textile trading, one of the few businesses Jews are allowed to pursue. For years, Mayer trudges through the muddy alleyways, selling second-hand clothes and household goods. But his sharp mind is always calculating, always looking for opportunities others miss. By his early 20s, Mayer has made a crucial observation. While everyone else is fighting over textile scraps, there's a completely different market most people ignore: rare coins and antiques. This isn't just about higher profit margins. This is about access to a different class of customers entirely. See, rare coins aren't just currency. They're investments, collectibles, stores of wealth for the aristocracy. And here's the key: aristocrats don't care if you're Jewish when you have something they want. Mayer starts small, learning everything about numismatics, the study of coins. He memorizes the weight, purity, and historical significance of hundreds of different coins. He can spot a fake from across the room and knows the exact market value of pieces other dealers can't even identify. But Mayer's real genius isn't in coin dealing, it's in psychology and relationship building. Enter Prince William of Hesse-Kassel, one of the richest men in Europe. William has a passion for rare coins, and through careful networking, Mayer arranges to sell him some exceptional pieces. But here's where it gets interesting. Mayer doesn't just sell William coins and walk away. He studies the prince's preferences, learns his collecting patterns, and positions himself as an expert advisor. Then comes the move that changes everything. Mayer develops what we now call front running. Here's how it works. Prince William wants to buy specific gold coins. He asks Mayer to source them from the market. But instead of simply finding the coins and earning a commission, Mayer does something brilliant and ethically questionable. Step 1. Mayer borrows money to buy the coins himself. Step 2. He sells them to Prince William at a markup. Step 3. He pockets both the commission fee and the price difference. Mayer is literally the buyer and the seller, making profit on both sides of the transaction. It's genius. And in today's world, it would be completely illegal. By 1782, this strategy has made Mayer incredibly wealthy. But more importantly, it's made him indispensable to Prince William, who now trusts Mayer to manage portions of his vast fortune. Now here's what separates Mayer Rothschild from every other successful businessman of his era. His vision extends far beyond personal wealth. Mayer has identified a fundamental problem with the banking system of the 1700s. It's fragmented, slow, and inefficient. If you want to move money from London to Vienna, you need multiple intermediaries, each taking their cut and adding delays. But what if one family controlled banks in all the major financial centers? What if they could move money, information, and influence across borders faster than any government or competitor? This is Mayer's master plan, to create the world's first truly international banking network. In 1798, Mayer makes a decision that will reshape global finance. He's going to send his sons across Europe to establish banking houses in the most important cities. Let me introduce you to the 5 brothers who will build an empire. Amschel Mayer, the eldest, stays in Frankfurt to run the original business. He's conservative, methodical, the anchor of the operation. Salomon Mayer goes to Vienna, the heart of the Habsburg Empire. His job, finance the Austrian nobility and government. Nathan Mayer, the most ambitious, heads to London, the emerging center of global trade and finance. Karl Mayer travels to Naples, giving the family influence in the Italian peninsula and Mediterranean trade. James Mayer, the youngest, establishes himself in Paris, the cultural and political heart of continental Europe. But before they spread across Europe, Mayer gathers his sons for what may be the most important family meeting in financial history. The year is 1810, and Mayer's health is failing. He knows his time is limited, but his vision is crystal clear. He tells his sons, "You must work together. You must share information instantly. You must think not as individuals, but as one family, one business, one unstoppable force. Unity is your strength. Division is your death." Mayer also establishes rules that will govern the family business for generations. Rule 1. Only male family members can participate in the business. Rule 2. The eldest son inherits leadership of each branch. Rule 3. Marriages should be arranged within the family to keep wealth concentrated. Rule 4. Never reveal the true extent of your wealth. Rule 5. Always maintain absolute secrecy about business operations. These aren't just business rules. They're the constitution of a financial empire. Of all the brothers, it's Nathan who will become the legend. In 1798, at age 21, he arrives in London with $20,000 from his father, roughly $3 million in today's money. But London isn't Frankfurt. This is the heart of the British Empire, the most powerful nation on earth. The competition is fierce, the stakes are higher, and failure means not just personal ruin, but the collapse of his father's grand vision. Nathan Rothschild is described by contemporaries as brilliant but ruthless, charming but calculating. He has his father's intelligence, but with an edge of aggression that makes him perfect for London's cutthroat business environment. Nathan's first challenge: establish credibility in a market dominated by established English banking houses who view him as a foreign upstart. Nathan starts with what he knows: textiles, but his approach is revolutionary. Instead of just trading cloth, he creates a vertically integrated operation that controls every step of the process. Listen to how Nathan himself described his strategy. Nathan starts with what he knows: textiles, but his approach is revolutionary. Instead of just trading cloth, he creates a vertically integrated operation that controls every step of the process. Listen to how Nathan himself described his strategy. "I soon found that there were 3 profits: the raw material, the dyeing, and the manufacturing. I said to the manufacturer, 'I will supply you with material and dye, and you will supply me with manufactured goods.' So I got 3 profits instead of 1, and I could sell goods cheaper than anybody." This is brilliant for several reasons. First, Nathan controls supply chains, making him indispensable to manufacturers. Second, by handling multiple stages, he can optimize the entire process for maximum profit. Third, he can undercut competitors because his integrated model is more efficient. But Nathan isn't content with legal textile trading. He also becomes, let's be honest, a smuggler. During the Napoleonic Wars, Britain and continental Europe are locked in an economic blockade. Napoleon's continental system prohibits European countries from trading with Britain. But where governments see restrictions, Nathan sees opportunity. Using a network of ship captains, corrupt officials, and hidden routes, Nathan smuggles British textiles into Europe and European goods back to Britain. The profits are enormous, but so are the risks. By 1808, just 10 years after arriving in London, Nathan's annual sales reach $800,000. That's over $100 million in today's money. He's no longer just a textile trader. He's become a financial force. But Nathan's biggest break comes from an unexpected source: war. By 1814, Europe has been at war for over 2 decades. Napoleon Bonaparte has conquered most of the continent, but now the tide is turning. The Duke of Wellington is pushing French forces back, preparing for what everyone hopes will be the final campaign. But Wellington has a problem that could derail everything: logistics. Here's what most people don't understand about 19th century warfare. Battles aren't won just by tactics and bravery. They're won by whoever can finance their army longer. Soldiers need to be paid, supplied, and fed. In foreign territory, that means having the right currency. Wellington is fighting in the Iberian Peninsula, but his soldiers need to buy supplies from local Portuguese and Spanish merchants who want to be paid in local currency, not British pounds. The British government is stumped. How do you quickly convert massive amounts of British currency into Portuguese and Spanish money during wartime when normal banking channels are disrupted? Enter Nathan Rothschild. Nathan has been watching this situation develop, and he's prepared. While other bankers see problems, Nathan sees the opportunity of a lifetime. Here's Nathan's move. He knows the East India Company is sitting on $800,000 worth of gold that they need to convert to cash. Nathan buys all of it, the entire stockpile. But Nathan isn't just buying gold to resell it. He's solving a complex international financial puzzle. Step 1. Nathan uses the gold to establish credit with European bankers. Step 2. He converts this credit into local currencies. Wellington needs. Step 3. He arranges the incredibly dangerous logistics of moving this money across war-torn Europe. Step 4. Wellington's army gets paid, supplied, and continues fighting. The profits are staggering. Nathan later said this was the best business I ever did. But the real victory isn't just financial. Nathan has just proven that the Rothschild network can solve problems that defeat entire governments. Word spreads through London's financial district. The Rothschilds can move money anywhere, anytime, under any conditions. Government contracts start flowing in. Private clients line up for services. By 1815, Nathan Rothschild isn't just wealthy, he's the most powerful banker in the world. But here's what made the Rothschilds truly unstoppable, and it's something most people completely miss when they study this family. They weren't just bankers. They were the world's first global information network. In an age where news traveled at the speed of horses, the Rothschilds moved information at the speed of light, or as close as 19th century technology allowed. Picture Europe in 1815. There's no telegraph, no telephone, no internet. If a battle happens in Belgium, it might take a week for news to reach London by conventional means. But the Rothschilds don't rely on conventional means. They've built a private intelligence network that spans the continent. Trained horses and professional riders who know every back road and shortcut carrier pigeons for urgent short-distance messages. A network of informants in every major city. Bankers, merchants, government clerks, even servants in noble households. Private boats that can cross the English Channel in any weather. Coded languages and secret signals to protect sensitive information. Let me give you a specific example of how this worked. The Battle of Waterloo, June 18, 1815. Napoleon's final defeat. While the battle is still raging, a Rothschild agent is positioned nearby, ready to rush news of the outcome to the coast. The moment victory is certain, he races to a waiting boat. Nathan Rothschild knows the result of Waterloo a full day before the British government receives official word. A full day. Think about what that means in financial terms. If Napoleon wins, British government bonds will crash. If Wellington wins, they'll soar. Nathan has 24 hours to position himself before anyone else even knows what happened. Now here's where the story gets controversial. Legend says that Nathan used this information advantage to manipulate the London stock market. According to the story, Nathan started selling British government bonds furiously, making everyone think he'd received bad news from Waterloo. Other traders panicked and started selling too, crashing the price. Then, when bonds hit rock bottom, Nathan secretly bought massive quantities through intermediaries. When the official news of Wellington's victory arrived the next day, bond prices soared, making Nathan an enormous profit. Whether this specific story is true or legend, the principle is absolutely real. The Rothschilds used their information advantage for currency speculation on a massive scale. This information network becomes the foundation of everything. The Rothschilds know about political changes before governments announce them. They know about trade deals before they're signed. They know about wars before they're declared. And here's the crucial point. They don't just use this information to make money. They use it to become indispensable to governments themselves. Kings and prime ministers start consulting Nathan Rothschild not just for loans, but for advice. What's the mood in Paris? Will Austria honor its treaties? Is revolution brewing in Italy? Nathan becomes more than a banker. He becomes an unofficial advisor to the British Empire. While Nathan is conquering London, his brothers are building their own empires across Europe, and the family's strategy of coordination is paying off brilliantly. In Vienna, Salomon Rothschild is financing the Austrian Empire's recovery from the Napoleonic Wars. He's not just lending money, he's helping to rebuild an entire nation's financial system. In Paris, James Rothschild is working with the restored Bourbon monarchy, helping France pay off its war debts and modernize its economy. In Naples, Karl Rothschild is financing trade throughout the Mediterranean, while in Frankfurt, Amschel manages the coordination of the entire network. But here's what makes their strategy so brilliant. They're not competing with each other. They're complementing each other. When the Austrian government needs to make a payment to Britain, Salomon in Vienna coordinates with Nathan in London to handle the transfer instantly. No physical gold shipment required. When French merchants want to buy goods from Italy, James in Paris works with Karl in Naples to handle the currency exchange and credit arrangements. They've essentially created the first international wire transfer system, decades before the technology officially exists. But success brings its own challenges. By the 1830s, the brothers are among the wealthiest men on earth, but the pressure of maintaining family unity across different countries and cultures is enormous. Nathan, always the most aggressive, wants to expand into new markets. James in Paris is more cautious, preferring to consolidate their European dominance. Amschel in Frankfurt tries to mediate between his brothers' different visions. Then, in 1836, tragedy strikes. Nathan Rothschild, the driving force of the family empire, dies suddenly at age 58. The financial world is shocked. The London Times writes, "The death of Nathan Mayer Rothschild is one of the most important events for the city, and perhaps for Europe in a long time. No operations comparable to his have existed in Europe to this time." But here's the test of Mayer's original vision. Can the family empire survive without its most dynamic leader? Leadership passes to James in Paris, Nathan's youngest brother. James faces a challenge that would destroy most family businesses. How do you maintain unity and growth when your driving force is gone? James's solution is brilliant. Instead of trying to replace Nathan's personality, he doubles down on the family's systematic advantages. Their information network, their international coordination, their financial innovation. Under James's leadership, the Rothschilds pivot into new industries that will define the next century: railroads. The 1840s bring a transportation revolution that will reshape civilization: the railroad. And the Rothschilds position themselves at the center of this transformation. James Rothschild understands something that many of his competitors miss. Railroads aren't just about moving people and goods. They're about connecting markets, accelerating trade, and literally shrinking the world. Building a railway requires enormous upfront capital: land acquisition, engineering, materials, labor. Most individual investors or even government treasuries can't handle projects of this scale. But the Rothschilds have something unique: the ability to coordinate financing across multiple countries simultaneously. They can raise money in London, Vienna, Paris, and Frankfurt at the same time, pooling resources that dwarf any single nation's capacity. They finance railways across Europe, from London to Birmingham, from Paris to Brussels, from Vienna to Prague. Each project generates immediate profits from underwriting fees, ongoing profits from bond trading, and long-term profits from transportation fees. But James sees something even bigger. Railways don't just generate profits, they create economic integration. A railroad from Paris to Vienna makes French and Austrian economies more interdependent. And interdependence creates stability. Countries connected by Rothschild-financed railways are less likely to go to war with each other, because war would disrupt the very trade networks that make both sides wealthy. The Rothschilds aren't just building transportation infrastructure, they're building a new kind of peace based on economic integration rather than military force. This strategy is so successful that it becomes a template for economic development that we still use today. The European Union, NAFTA, global trade agreements, they're all based on the same principle James Rothschild pioneered in the 1840s. So where does this leave the Rothschild empire today? Are they still the puppet masters of global finance, or has their influence faded into history? The truth is more complex than either extreme suggests. Today, Rothschild & Co. operates in 40 countries with over 3,000 employees. They manage $60 billion in assets and provide investment banking services to governments, corporations, and wealthy individuals worldwide. They're no longer the richest family on earth. That distinction belongs to tech billionaires and oil dynasties, but their influence in certain sectors remains significant. They still finance government bonds, still provide merger and acquisition advice to multinational corporations, still manage wealth for some of the world's richest families. But here's what's really remarkable about the Rothschild story. It's not just about money. It's about vision, strategy, and execution on a scale that spans centuries. Mayer Rothschild's original insight, that information, speed, and international coordination could create competitive advantages, remains relevant today. Tech companies like Google, Amazon, and Facebook are building information empires that would make the Rothschilds proud. The family's emphasis on long-term thinking over short-term profits explains why they've survived when other banking dynasties have collapsed. And their understanding that economic integration promotes stability has become a cornerstone of modern international relations. Love them or hate them, admire them or fear them, the Rothschilds changed the world. They showed that a single family with vision, unity, and determination could build influence that outlasts empires. They went from a cramped ghetto in Frankfurt to the heights of global power in just 2 generations, and they did it not through conquest or inheritance, but through intelligence, innovation, and relentless execution. That's a legacy worth understanding, whether you're building a business, studying history, or just trying to make sense of how our modern financial world really works. What do you think? Were the Rothschilds brilliant innovators who helped create the modern global economy? Or were they ruthless manipulators who accumulated power at the expense of ordinary people? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to dive deeper into financial history and the stories behind the world's great fortunes, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Thanks for joining me on this journey through one of history's most fascinating family empires. I'll see you in the next one.